Coming up next on Kids TV and Me, author, illustrator, and children's television enthusiast Joshua Stauffer will be talking to you today about this.
I'll be the monster and you can look for me. Rawr! Rawr! You've got to find me without me seeing you. It's ever so difficult. You have to be ever so quiet. Shut your eyes and count up to 20 and then you've got to find me.
OK. 1, 2, 3...
Not too fast. Count slowly.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 18, 19, 20.
You'll never find me. Yo! That's not fair.
Why?
You're not doing it properly. You're supposed to crawl along like me.
Why? It's much easier standing up.
But I'd see you coming, wouldn't I?
Yes, but you didn't.
I thought you'd play properly.
Sorry.
All right, then. You be the monster and I'll show you how to do it.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20! I'm coming!
Hey everybody, Joshua Stauffer here, back with another episode of Kids TV and Me. This summer we're analyzing some of my favorite episodes of the classic animated children's series, Kipper the Dog. This week we're going to be talking about Buried Treasure, Playtime, and the Purple Park Monster. These are some of the later episodes of this series, which aired in November 2000, episodes numbers 70, 71, 72 to be exact. Buried Treasure and the Purple Park Monster were both written by George Terry, and Playtime was written by Dave Ingham. Buried Treasure was released on VHS and DVD in 2001 in the Tiger Tales collection. Playtime came out in 2003 in the Playtime collection. In 2002, the Amazing Discoveries video began with the Purple Park Monster. And we're going to talk about all those today. Now this first one here, Buried Treasure, the title of this episode is a little bit misleading. I'll explain why as we go. Alright, so the story begins with Kipper and Tiger sitting on a bench in the park by the duck pond. And there's some kind of red thing underneath that bench. We don't know what it is yet, though. Tiger and Kipper are both drinking juice boxes. I don't know what kind of juice that's supposed to be, though. It's just these green boxes with red labels on. I don't see any kind of pictures of fruit or anything. I always thought they looked like green traffic lights with 2 red lights on them. And they're talking about how Jake was supposed to meet them there for something, but they don't know what for yet. And here comes Jake sucking on a lollipop, and he seems to be looking for something. It turns out he wasn't quite ready to see Kipper and Tiger yet, because he's lost something. He says it's sort of a surprise, and then he goes off and tries to look for it again. This is a red lollipop, so I assume it's probably cherry. And so Kipper crumbles up his juice box and tosses it into the trash can next to the bench. He misses the first time, then he picks it up and tosses it in, trying not to be a litter bug. Very good. And then he noticed something inside the trash can. Looks like a rolled up piece of paper. Kipper opens it up, and it says something about Blackbeard the Pirate. And it has a skull and crossbones on it. And Tiger reads it. To find my treasure, you must take 3 steps forward, signed Blackbeard the Pirate. And Kipper doesn't think the treasure map is real because he says, pirates don't leave things in trash cans. But Tiger says, why not? They might. How many pirates do you know? Blackbeard the Pirate. I think it's a little bit more of a common name for pirates. When I was in 4th grade, we did a school play called Captain Blackboots Island, in which I played DJ, Davy Jones Jr. That was kind of fun. So they're standing right there by the bench in front of the duck pond, and Tiger grabs the map and starts taking 3 steps forward, just like the map says. But he can't really take more than 2 steps because he's too close to the duck pond. Kipper says, how'd you know that's forward? And Tiger says, because I'm facing forward, of course. And of course Kipper clarifies and says, doesn't it tell you where you're supposed to start? And Tiger just assumes that it would start there because they found it there. But then Kipper looks at it more closely. You start at the bridge over the stream, it says. I've noticed that in this episode the grass has a little bit more of a texture to it in the background, as opposed to just like a green fade. Has more of like a, how do you describe it? Like a colored pencil scribbling it on almost. Or the surface of a canvas, that's what it looks like, yeah. So now they're standing on the bridge over the stream, right in the middle of the bridge. And they're trying to decide which way to take 3 steps forward. So I guess they're assuming that you start at the middle of the bridge and then take 3 steps. So they count their steps as they go. 1, 2, 3. Then Tiger reads, turn and face the other way. And so Tiger turns around and bumps his nose into Kipper's nose. The note continues, and take 3 steps forward. 1, 2, 3. Tiger says, that can't be right. Okay, this is weird. So you start at one point on the bridge, then take 3 steps one way, and then take 3 steps right back? And then Kipper finds a bottle tied to the bridge on a string with a message inside. So I guess they did the right thing by starting in the middle of the bridge. Because if they start on one of the sides and took 3 steps out and 3 steps back, then they might not have seen it. Well, I mean, I guess they could have, depending on which angle they were looking from. If they could have seen it from the outside. But it was the string that Kipper saw, and then he looked down and saw the bottle. Okay, then he's picking it up now. And now Tiger's definitely convinced that these might be real pirates, because that's what pirates do. They leave messages in bottles. So they take the note out of the bottle, and it says, look where you slide down. And they run off to the slide. And yes, that's the same slide that they were playing on in the episode Pig's Cousin. They definitely put a lot more efforts into the backgrounds with this episode, because you can see the grass and the bushes there. And they look up and they see another clue tied to a balloon, which is tied to the top of the slide. A purple balloon. My goodness, Tiger, did you just climb up that slide? Because Kipper came up one way up the steps, and then Tiger just came up the other way. And as Tiger's trying to reach up and grab it, saying, what does it say? What does it say? It slips out of Kipper's hand and then starts flying away. The note is still tied to the balloon, but the balloon's carrying the note away. And then it crashes into a tree and pops. Now it's just hanging there. And Tiger says, I don't think the wind will blow it off. That's the exact same I don't think the wind will blow it off from the Gizmo, when the sailboats got stuck between the lily pads. But instead of better try a stick, Tiger adds to that, you're the best climber, Kipper. And so Kipper goes up and gets the note. And it's got another black skull and crossbones on it. And the note says, look in the biggest tree in the park. And so they're looking around to see where the biggest tree in the park is. And Tiger says, Kipper, I think this is the biggest tree in the park. Wow, so they didn't even really need that next note. Well, yeah, they did. But what I'm saying is that notes didn't really have to send them anywhere. Like, they're already where the notes told them to go. At least they know now that they're in the right place. And there's a hole in the tree, a hollow hole, right there next to the branch where Kipper's sitting, and a squirrel pops his nose out, and Kipper says hello to it. And Kipper pokes his head inside the hole and says, hey, Tiger, there's a hole in the tree! There's a hole in the tree! And there's another smaller hole towards the bottom. And Tiger walks around and finds it, and sees the squirrel running out of it. And Tiger reaches inside, and he finds the next note. And Kipper climbs down as Tiger reads, look where things go quack. And Tiger says, easy peasy, must be the duck pond. After a fade to black, they arrive at the duck pond, which is right back where they started. And as they went along, Kipper's been collecting a whole stack of those notes. And Tiger's trying to figure out what the notes could mean. I mean, they figured out the right place to go, but they're not quite sure to where to look. Tiger says, I'm not going in there. It's all wet. And Kipper looks at the note again, and then he flips it over, and there's something else written on the other side. It says, it's under the bench. And they turn around, and sure enough, they see the red thing under the bench. And they assume it's the treasure. And Kipper looks at it and says, it doesn't look much like a treasure chest. It's more like a cookie tin. A cookie tin. I've seen fancy cookie containers like that in the past, like especially around the holiday season. Like those hard, round aluminum containers with all kinds of fancy cookies inside. And Tiger says, pirates only ate cookies. It's a well-known fact. Is that true? And Kipper says, yeah, right. Oh, I'm not quite sure I understand the context of Kipper's yeah, right, though, because did he mean yeah, right as in, like, yeah, you're right, pirates only ate cookies, or is he like, yeah, right, like in a sarcastic way? It's kind of hard to tell there. Let's see, according to TampaBayHistoryCenter.org, during the Age of Exploration, sailors, like pirates and explorers, would sometimes not see a dock for months, Without a refrigerator, they needed something to eat that would last for longer periods of time, so they made hardtack, or ship's biscuits. Hardtack was baked on land and then stored on board the ship. Hardtack was rock hard, so it was soaked in a stew to soften it before taking a bite. And they have a recipe for it. Whole wheat flour, salt, water, and a rolling pin baking sheet, and a lightly floured work surface. So it was just flour, water, and salt, not really the kind of cookies that we know, like dessert-type cookies. So yeah, no, that could be what Tiger is referring to. He's probably never eaten hardtack before, or ship's biscuits, or whatever you want to call them. So I guess he probably just assumes that they're a type of cookie. Because when you think about it, like especially in the UK, the word cookie and biscuit are sometimes used interchangeably, so maybe Tiger thought that pirates eat chocolate chip cookies. I don't know. It's a funny thought. So Kipper opens up the cookie tin, and they look inside, and they say, "Wow!" And Tiger says, "It's chocolate! Yeah! Chocolate what, though?" I mean, I'm looking at this stuff, and I don't know, is it supposed to be like a cake or fudge or something? Like, it's this big black thing with white stuff on it. Is that supposed to be like little dots of white frosting? Or are they marshmallows or something? I don't know. Yeah, it looks like one great big cake. It didn't look like individual cookies. I could be wrong, though. Kind of hard to tell because then we dissolve to the next scene and we just see them chewing something and the tin's already closed. And Kipper says, "Let's leave some for Jake." And then he picks up one of the pirate clues and, I guess, wipes his hands on it and tosses it into the trash can. And now here comes Jake. He says, "Sorry, Kipper. I couldn't find it. The first clue. I lost it." And Jake's trying to jog his memory of what happened. He says, "I was sitting here, licking my lollipop, and I put the wrapper in the bin. And then he looks into the trash can, and he sees the pirate clue that Kipper had just tossed into there. And yes, this is the same trash can that's Kipper had dug it out of earlier, so..." Interesting, so Jake's finding it exactly where he left it, even though it hadn't been there for a while, and then Kipper tossed it back in. That's funny. And Jake says, "Yes, here it is. I must have put it in here with my lollipop wrapper." When I was 3 years old, when he said wrapper, the way he pronounced it was rappa, I thought he said grandpa. But nope, lollipop wrapper. And then he says, "Happy birthday, Kipper." And now Kipper's really confused, and Jake explains that the pirate clue was all part of a game that Jake made up for Kipper's birthday. You follow the clues until you find the treasure, and that was the first clue. But it turns out that Jake made a big mistake. It's not Kipper's birthday. He says that it's in 7 weeks and 2 days. I guess he was counting the days till his birthday. And Kipper picks up the cookie tin once again and says, "Was this my present, Jake? We already ate some. Would you like a bit?" And Jake says, "Yes, please." And even though Jake's really disappointed that he kind of screwed up the calendar as far as when Kipper's birthday is, because he thought it was today, he's still happy that Kipper and Tiger are letting him have some of the cake that he gave them. And yeah, now we see them taking it out of the tin and eating some more. I'm pretty sure that is cake, or maybe some kind of fudge. And it's got some kind of either marshmallows or white chips in it. And they even toss some of it out to the ducks. I don't know if the ducks will like that or not, but okay. And as they sit there eating the cake, Kipper tells Jake that it was a terrific game. They found the bottle and the balloon and the things that quack. It was ever so clever. Then Jake asks Kipper, "When it really is your birthday, in 7 weeks and 2 days, would you like me to do another one?" Kipper says, "Oh, yes." And then Tiger's like, "What about when it's my birthday?" I don't know when Tiger's birthday is, if it's before or after Kipper's. And that's it. That was Kipper the Dog, Buried Treasure. Now, remember I said in the beginning that the episode title was a little bit misleading? That's because there's 2 other similar episodes. There's an episode called The Treasure Hunt, and there's another one called Pirates. And this one's called Buried Treasure. Like, those 3 episodes, it's easy to get those 3 mixed up, because they're all kind of the same theme. The Treasure Hunt was episode 30, and that was the one where Tiger used a metal detector and they found a bunch of things buried underground throughout the park. And then later, episode 42, Pirates, that was the one where Kipper and Tiger built a raft, and they were pretending to be pirates, and they floated out to an island. Now, in this one, Buried Treasure is the one where Jake put together the treasure hunt that was supposed to be for Kipper's birthday, even though that wasn't supposed to be the right day. But if you ask me, I think they should have called episode 30 Buried Treasure, because they're not really doing a organized treasure hunt in that one, they're looking for things with a metal detector buried underground. So shouldn't that episode be called Buried Treasure? I mean, the Pirates one with the voyage out to the island, I mean, that one kind of makes sense. But this one that we just talked about, it's called Buried Treasure instead of the treasure hunt? The treasure wasn't even buried, it was just sitting there underneath the park bench. Yeah, I guess they, I'll bet the writers kind of regretted that later, like not calling episode 30 Buried Treasure, and since they already used the treasure hunt title, they just had to go with Buried Treasure for this one. It's kind of weird. But despite the fact that nothing was buried in this Buried Treasure episode, it's still one of my favorites. It reminds me of when I was a kid, and it was a fun game that I used to play sometimes. I think I did it for my mom or my dad one time. Like, I would hide something and then put little clues throughout the house, and I would let them find it. And I think they did that for me once. When I was 5 and it was Halloween, instead of doing trick-or-treating outside the neighborhood, they set up like a treasure hunt inside the house and hid little treats with little notes and clues and stuff. And that was the year that I wore like a spider costume with a paper bag and a paper plate face and weird little arms and legs for like the spider. I still have a picture of that somewhere. I'll show you to sometime. So yeah, that was the treasure hunt, or excuse me, Buried Treasure was the episode title, even though it should have been called The Treasure Hunt. Buried Treasure, lots of fun there. And now I'm going to make a quick cut, and when I come back, we'll dive into the next episode, Clay Time. I'll be right back. Alright, Clay Time. Let's do this. The episode begins with Pig and Arnold sitting there at the duck pond. The same duck ponds that the previous episode began with. Instead of Kipper and Tiger sitting there on the bench drinking juice boxes, we see Pig and Arnold with Arnold's bread bag and tossing breadcrumbs out to the ducks. Then Arnold hands Pig the bread bag, and Pig pulls out an entire slice of bread, takes a big bite out of it himself, and then tosses the rest of it out into the pond. It's a pretty big piece for the ducks. The ducks don't seem to mind, though, which doesn't surprise me since there was an entire sandwich in the duck pond in the picnic episode, and ducks started eating that. And then Kipper joins Pig and Arnold and sits between them. Arnold hands Kipper some bread, and he tosses some bread out to the ducks, too. And Pig asks Kipper what he's up to this afternoon, and it turns out that Kipper is on his way to Tiger's house for tea. And Pig asks what Kipper's going to be having with this tea. Kipper says that Tiger said something about cookies. And Pig asks what kind, and Kipper says chocolate, I think. Pig says, after chocolate cake, chocolate cookies are our favorites. They're our favorites, aren't they, Arnold? And Arnold offers some more bread to Kipper, but Kipper says no thanks, and he has to get going to Tiger's now. And he says goodbye to both of them, and now Pig's got chocolate cookies on his mind. He says, chocolate cookies. Lovely. The way Pig said lovely, I thought it was some different kind of word. When I was little, I thought he said yumfly, which is like yummy and lovely put together. Yumfly. But no, it was lovely with an L. Well, 2 L's actually. We dissolve to the next scene, and Skipper's walking along, and he hears some strange noises coming from Tiger's house. And we see Tiger at his pottery wheel. It's like this table with a foot pedal on it to make this round part spin around. He's trying to make something out of clay. He's having trouble controlling it, though. Keeps telling it to stay still. And there's drops of wet clay splashing all over the place. And Tiger's got some on his face, too. He's got a green apron on. And Kipper and Tiger say hello, and Tiger explains that he's making pots on his new potter's wheel. And he says it's brilliant fun, but a bit tricky, yep. And then very professionally, Tiger clears his throat and demonstrates how it works. He says, first, you take a big lump of clay, then you throw it onto the wheel. Lovely. Then you pedal as fast as you can, and make whatever it is you want to make. He says you must always keep the clay nice and wet. There's like these two shelves on either side of the table. On the one side there's a pile of clay, on the other side there's a dish of water, or a bowl of water rather. And soon after he says that it takes great skill and patience, Tiger digs his thumb into the top and picks it up. And right when he says, ta-da! That shot right there with Tiger holding up the pot that he just formed, I see his 3 of his fingers all covered in clay. When I was little, I thought it looks like that this clay pot had 6 layers instead of 3, because we see the 3 layers on the clay pot, and then the 3 clay-covered fingers. It looked kind of weird there. I was like, how did it get so big all of a sudden? And then it went small again when he handed it to Kipper. So those clay-covered fingers were a little bit misleading there. So now Kipper's holding 2 of these things, one in each hand. He's looking at them. He's not entirely sure what they are. And then Tiger's like, it's a cup. Duh. Anyone could see that. Doesn't really say duh, but that's his attitude. And so that's the 3rd one that Tiger finished. He's trying to make a whole set of them. And now Kipper's going to try and make one. And Tiger says, don't be too disappointed if it doesn't work out the first time. And so Kipper wets his hand, and so far he's doing pretty good, spinning around there, trying to form the shape of a pot. And Kipper asks how you make it hollow, and Tiger says you just stick your thumb in it. And Tiger says, that's it, Kipper, go faster, faster. But then Kipper kind of loses control of it. It's like the one side is kind of sticking up a little too far. He's not quite sure how to fix it. He's just not touching it now, just letting it spin around. And Kipper's trying to get it right, and somehow the clay pot is spinning around, and it like comes flying off of the wheel, and it hits Tiger right in the face. Sheesh! And after Tiger wipes it out of his eyes and mouth, they both start laughing. Not exactly the kind of thing I would laugh about, having all that clay in my face. Yeah, when I was a kid, I was never a huge fan of messy stuff like that. I mean, I have tried it a couple times. I think in art class at school, we did some things with clay. One time when I was in, I think, middle school, I made a purple clay flower pots, and I gave it to my mom. I think I might still have it somewhere. Not sure. And I also remember making something at the Pottery Works in downtown Lancaster. There was a cool guy who worked there. His name was Bill, and he was also my tutor. I was struggling in school when I was in 2nd grade, and he helped me a lot with some stuff. And we used to visit him at the Pottery Works every Saturday morning. The biggest highlight for me there was using this cool wet-dry vacuum to scrub their floors with. And one time he tried to show me how to make a clay pot, and I didn't really enjoy all that messy stuff all that much. So. But I do remember that. One thing I noticed is that the clay here on Kipper looks a lot more red than it normally does. Most clay that I've seen until it gets cooked is like gray, and then it gets darker after you like bake it. Although I think I have seen darker clay like about that color on Reading Rainbow. I forget which episode it was. I think they reused that segment for multiple episodes, but I think one of them was a Palomondo's Dreams that they featured that in. I remember the way they were making that clay, they were like stamping it out and mixing it together with their feet. It was kind of interesting. So anyway, after they're done laughing, Kipper says, why don't we make a really big pot? Tiger says, yeah, a really huge one. Wonder if they have enough clay for that. Okay, so this time they're going to work together. Tiger's going to work the wheel, and Kipper's going to try to do the formation. Okay, so they start out there. Wow, the way Kipper's forming this thing, they're making it like some kind of, almost like a really tall candy dish with like like this thin, narrow part in the middle, and then it gets like really wide at the top. I wouldn't exactly call that a big pots, but like a big fancy dish. I don't know if I've ever seen a flower pot like that. The shape I'm thinking of, it's almost like a bird bath. You know what I mean? With the tall post and the big wide thing up top to hold the water in. That's what it looks like. He gets it all nice and tall with his hands, and then he digs both of his fingers to make the thing at the top. But then pretty soon it starts getting all limp and wiggly and starts falling down. And there's clay flying everywhere. They're losing a lot of clay here. And somehow or another, they actually managed to make this thing look like a perfect-sized pot like they had made earlier. Not the big one that they were hoping for, but Tiger thinks it's perfect to complete the set. Kipper says, I wonder where all the clay went. Tiger laughs and says, all over you, silly. And Kipper's got clay all over his face now. So now they're inside Tiger's house, sitting on some wooden wicker chairs. Very nice. Very 90s. And Tiger's saying that he's glad that they didn't make a big pot. The small one was perfect and completed his as cups. Just like I just said. And Kipper touches one of the cups and says, Tiger, I'm not quite sure if he says squishy or squinchy, but it sounds like he's saying, they're all squinchy. How do you make them hard? And Tiger says, that's easy, we bake them. What, like cakes? Yeah, but they have to dry out first. So now Kipper and Tiger are going to get themselves cleaned up. They really need it. And then they're going to have their tea, which is good because Kipper's starving. Then we have a fade to black, and there's Pig and Arnold outside, and Pig sees Tiger's pottery set. And he doesn't have a clue what it is. Pig says, "It looks like some sort of car. It's got a pedal and a steering wheel." Okay. That doesn't really look anything like a car to me. It looks like a picnic table or something. He picks us down the chair and says, "Come on, Arnold, let's go for a ride." So, like, even if this thing is a car, you're just going to sit down in it and drive off without Tiger's permission? What is wrong with you, Pig? And then Pig picks up Arnold and sets him on top of the wheel. Like, didn't Pig just say that that's supposed to be a steering wheel? Like, why would you have somebody sit on the steering wheel? And then he says, "Hold on tight, Arnold." And Pig starts working the pedals. And at first he thinks it's working, and then Pig's kind of looking down towards the pedal, like towards the ground, and he doesn't see Arnold spin around like crazy up top. And Pig says, "Why aren't we moving?" "Oh, it hasn't got any wheels." Like, just now he notices that the legs of this pottery table don't have wheels. Like, how did you not notice that from the get-go, Pig? Like, that's nuts! Like, I would think if you were to assume that that was a car, you would see wheels on it first. But he assumed that just because it had a pedal and a steering wheel that it was supposed to be a car. And when Pig realizes, he says, "Oh, it hasn't got any wheels. Who ever heard of a car without wheels?" And Pig stops pedaling and doesn't even notice Arnold slowing to a stop. Like, Pig had no idea that Arnold had been spinning around the whole time on the wheel. And so he simply just picks up Arnold and sets him back down on the ground. And now Arnold's all dizzy. He's just kind of staggering around there with his thumb in his mouth as always. And Pig says to Arnold, "Let's go and have tea with Kipper and Tiger. I hope they haven't started without us." He says, "Arnold, stop messing about." Pig doesn't have a clue why Arnold's dizzy because he didn't see him spin. Pig is just totally clueless here. This is so strange. And so Pig opens the door of Tiger's house. He doesn't see anybody. Just walks right in, doesn't even close the door. He says, "Ooh, Arnold, look. Cookies. Chocolate cookies." He's looking down at the set of 4 clay cups that Kipper and Tiger just made, and he thinks they're chocolate cookies? Well, to be fair, Pig did remember Kipper mentioning that they were going to have cookies at this tea party. And if this is like a brown kind of clay, I guess they would look a little bit like chocolate. I mean, on this show, they look a little too orange to be chocolate, but I guess some wet clay would look like chocolates in real life, maybe. That's a very nice chair. That's wicker with the green cushion there. And then Pig says it again, "Lovely," which kind of sounds like yumfly. Pig sits down, picks up one of the mugs and says, well, they're not really mugs, they're either cups or pots, whatever you want to call them. Pig looks at it and says, "They're a funny shape, aren't they?" And he smells it and says, "But they don't smell very chocolatey." And then we see Kipper and Tiger coming in through another door, probably the kitchen door, and Tiger's holding a plate of cookies, chocolate chip cookies, and Kipper's drying his hands off. He probably just washed up. And Tiger says, "Oh, I'm really hungry." Kipper says, "Me too. These cookies look really..." "No, Pig!" He sees Pig and Arnold over there, and now Pig is like gagging and spitting out the big bite out of the clay that he had just chomped. He was trying to eat that clay pot. My goodness, Pig! Pig says, "Ugh, I don't think much of your cookies. They taste horrible." And Kipper and Tiger are laughing, and Pig's still gagging. What is Pig spitting that into? Just spitting on the floor or the table? Yuck. And Pig's like, "What is it?" And Kipper and Tiger just keep on laughing. I can't hear what Pig's saying as the other two are laughing. Like, for years I always thought he said, "What's so funny?" But it sounds like it might be something else. I'm not sure. I don't know if he's just saying, "What's funny?" or "What's it for?" Like, what are these cookies for? Like, what is this if it's not a cookie? I'm not sure. And then Pig looks at it, and then Pig starts laughing during, like, the last 2 seconds of the show. So did Pig then realize what this is supposed to be? Well, I guess Pig would have saw the plate of real cookies that Tiger was holding, so he figured out this is actually clay and that he just ate Clay, and he realized that they did a really silly, dumb thing, and then he started laughing. Yeah, that ending was a little bit confusing. But man, that was bonkers. Clay, Pig knowing absolutely nothing about clay or pottery, and then thinking that the potter's wheel thing was a car, and thinking that the clay pots were cookies. Ridiculous. Oh boy. So anyway, that was Clay time. Another interesting episode of Kipper the Dog. I remember liking both Buried Treasure and this one because they both had something to do with food. Any episode of any cartoon that has like food in it always gets my attention. Like in the beginning of Buried Treasure, they were drinking juice boxes and Jake was eating a lollipop, and then towards the end we had that fudge cake that they were eating that was supposed to be Kipper's presents, but they thought it was just a random game. And now in the second one, it started with the bread at the duck pond, and then Kipper was talking about chocolate cookies, and of course that had my attention through the whole thing. And it's funny because like the first couple of times that I watched this, I thought that clay stuff was supposed to be some kind of food. And then in the end, Big kind of thought the same thing. He thought those clay pots were cookies, and then consequently, at the age of 3, not knowing anything about pottery myself, I thought they were cookies too. Until Tiger came in with the real ones, and Big started spitting out the clay and said, "These cookies are terrible." I also remember that scene where Tiger got all that clay in his face when it flew off of Kipper's project, and Kipper sort of gasped, went, "Ah! Ah!" Like that recording was also used in the what episode was that? Pig Sweater. We'll talk about that another day. But in that one, Kipper used his rubber hippo to squirt water in Tiger's face when they were all sitting in the paddling pool, and Tiger had that same like reaction sound. I believe I saw that program, The Big Race, Arnold on Wheels, and Pig Sweater before I saw this one, which actually makes sense because this set, Buried Treasure, Clay Time, and the Purple Park Monster, this aired later after those other ones, even though Buried Treasure and Clay Time appear at this point in my tape, so this episode must have aired brand new when Mom recorded it, and then The Great Race, Arnold on Wheels, and Pig Sweater was recorded a few weeks later as a rerun, so that's probably what happened there. Alrighty then, I'm going to make another quick cut, and when I come back, we're going to talk about one more episode today, the Purple Park Monster. I'll be back with that in a moment. Huh, that's strange. When this aired on Nick Jr., they used the music for the B episode twice, like between all 3 of them, because usually there's a separate music track for the beginning of the B episode and the beginning of the C episode, but they used the B track at the beginning of the C as well here, so a little mistake that they made there, which doesn't really make any sense because I don't think the Purple Park Monster was ever a B episode in any other programs, so little fluke there, but it kind of works out since we heard the C episode 2 and twice last time, so. Anywho, let's start the Purple Park Monster. And in case I didn't mention already, the A and C, Buried Treasure, and Purple Park Monster are written by George Terry, but the B episode was written by Dave Ingham. So this one, Purple Park Monster, was written by George Terry. Alright, here we go. First, we see Kipper walking along a path surrounded by very tall grass. He's eating a sandwich and carrying a bag, which probably has some more sandwiches in it. Then we see Tiger crawling along the tall grass there. We just see his ears and his tail. And Kipper doesn't know it yet, but Tiger's crawling through the grass just a few feet away from him. And this is only one of 2 times in the entire series where we see this part of the park with the tall grass, the other one being the magnifying glass. Wonder what kind of sandwich Kipper's eating. Is that jam or cheese? I don't see any red in between the 2 slices, so maybe it's cheese. And as Tiger crawls through the grass, he's giggling all the while like he's being sneaky. Not quite sure what he's doing there yet. And Kipper gets out of the tall grass and sits down by a tree. And he hears the bushes rustling. And he immediately assumes that it's Tiger and says, "Hi, Tiger." And Tiger says, "Boy," and he pokes his head out and says, "Oh, how'd you know it was me?" And instead of answering that, Kipper says, "Have a sandwich." And Kipper asks Tiger what he was doing. Tiger says, "I'm looking for the park monster." And Kipper says, "What monster? There aren't any monsters in the park." Then Tiger explains that he was pretending that Kipper's a monster, and that he and Pig were planning to play a pretend game of hunting for monsters in the park. And Pig isn't there yet, so Tiger was practicing on Kipper. And as he says all this, he's opening up his sandwich to see what's inside. Not sure what that is that he looks kind of pink inside, so it's either a thin layer of jam, or maybe it's some kind of lunch meat, I'm not sure. And then Kipper decides that they can just start playing the game anyway, and then Pig can join them later when he arrives. So Tiger's going to pretend to be the monster, and Kipper's going to look for him. Tiger says, "You've got to find me without me seeing you." He says it's ever so difficult, and you have to be ever so quiet. He says, shut your eyes and count to 20, and then come and find me. Oh, so basically it's like a variation of hide and seek, except the person that you're looking for is pretending to be a monster. Interesting. You guys all know how much I enjoyed the hide and seek episode, so we're kind of doing this again now. Cool. As Tiger crawls away, Kipper starts counting, and Tiger says, "Not so fast, count slowly." And then Kipper starts counting again, and as he's counting, once in a while, he opens his fingers and peeks a little bit. We dissolve to the next scene. He's made it to 18, 19, 20, so we don't hear every number. Then he gets up and walks away and leaves his sandwiches there by the tree. And Kipper can pretty easily see Tiger leaving a trail in the tall grass. And he can see his tail poking up, so he's walking through the trail that Tiger's leaving, and also making a shortcut, making his own trail through the grass. Tiger's crouched way down, saying, "He'll never find me." But he's soon proved wrong, when a few seconds later, Kipper's trail meets up with Tiger's. Then he reaches down and touches Tiger, and Tiger freaks out. "Ah! That's not fair! You're not doing it properly! You're supposed to crawl along like me!" And Kipper says, "Why? It's much easier standing up." Tiger says, "But I'd see you coming, wouldn't I?" "Yes, but you didn't," said Kipper. I'm surprised that Tiger didn't mention the fact that Kipper could see him a lot more easily, because Tiger didn't see Kipper coming, of course. Fortunately, Tiger doesn't stay mad for long, so they're going to try again, and this time Kipper's going to be the monster, and Tiger's going to try to find him. So they go back to the tree, and now Tiger's going to sit down there and count, and Kipper picks up his bag of sandwiches and walks away. And Tiger starts counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 20! I'm coming! Count from 9 to 19 super fast, and then just shied 20. On one of the videos that my grandma made, one time I was playing hide and seek at her house, and I counted really silly, just like Tiger did right here. I'll play that for you when we're done. So now Tiger's crawling along, and apparently Tiger's not going to find Kipper, because Kipper just got up and sat down next to another tree and kept eating sandwiches like he's not even in the tall grass. Oh my, I hope Tiger doesn't get mad again, because Kipper's kind of cheating here, but in a different way. And Tiger's crawling all over the place, saying, "Where is he?" And he's following a trail that's already been made, and Tiger assumes that Kipper made it. And then for a brief moment, we see a grass trail being formed by somebody. At first I thought Tiger was making that one, but then we see Tiger crawling along behind it, like after it was already formed. And then we cut to Kipper once again, and Tiger pokes his head up out of the grass trail, and Kipper just looks over there and says, "Hi." Oh no, now Tiger's gonna get mad again and say that Kipper was supposed to be hiding in the grass. Yeah, Kipper doesn't really seem too hip with this game. He doesn't really seem to care. He just wants to, do his own thing. And Tiger's reaction doesn't seem all that angry, but he's very surprised. He's like looking around like, "What? What?" And he says, "Kipper, if you're there, then what have I been following?" He's just now beginning to realize that Kipper didn't make the trail that Tiger was crawling along. And Kipper walks into the grass, and he thinks maybe a rabbit made the trail, but Tiger says it's definitely too big for a rabbit. And they don't crawl very far before they see a very interesting creature crawling out of the grass and down over a small cliff. Some weird purple thing with a bunch of legs and horns and a long tail and a long pointy nose. And they don't see it up close, but we do. It turns out it's Arnold wearing a costume. It looks like a big purple cardboard head with the 3 horns and a big eye and like a scary looking zigzag mouth. And Arnold's wearing some kind of super long sock or hat or something with 2 holes poking out of it for his legs, and he was crawling on all fours when he was wearing it. So if that's Arnold, and Pig wanted to play some kind of monster game, I'll bet Pig's in on this too. Interesting. The face of that costume, the way the mouth kind of zigzags like that, and the way it has that eye, you know what that reminds me of? It almost looks kind of like those, wooden dinosaur things. It was like a piggy bank, and you would, like, put a coin into the mouth, and then it would go down this, like, little zigzag, what do you call it, like a trail or pipeline or marble roller kind of thing, and then it would go down to the glass belly. They used to have those at every library, those, like, dinosaur piggy bank things for donations. That face kind of reminds me of that. Okay, so we know the Purple Park monster is Arnold, but Kipper and Tiger don't know it yet, and now they're running to the main area of the park, and there's the park bench with the trash can, and Pig's sitting there eating an ice cream cone, and Kipper and Tiger are freaking out saying, "Run, Pig, run! There's a monster in the park!" And Pig just very casually says, I know. And they're like, "You know?" And Pig says, "That's why I suggested we come and catch it." And Tiger's really confused now. He says, "But we thought it was just a game." And Pig says, "Oh no, it's not a game." Tiger says, "Well, but how are we going to catch it?" And Kipper says, "We'll think of something. Pig, aren't you coming?" And then Pig lets out a yawn and says, "Oh, I'll just finish my ice cream first." And then after they walk away, Pig continues licking his ice cream and he's giggling. Now, when I was 3, I assumed that Pig was just giggling because he's enjoying his ice cream and maybe it's tickling his tongue, or he thinks it's funny the way he's licking it like that. But looking at this now, I think the reason he's giggling is because he set up this whole thing with Arnold, and he's like, "Ooh, I can't wait for their reaction when they see Arnold dressed up as a monster." Alright, next scene. Kipper and Tiger are crawling through the grass together now, trying to hide from this monster and find it at the same time. And they can't really see anything when they're ducked down that low. They're afraid to look up because they don't want to be seen. Uh-oh. I see 3 horns, and Arnold's following Kipper and Tiger. I wonder if Arnold saw Kipper and Tiger run away right after they caught a glimpse of him the first time. So if Kipper and Tiger are creeping along through the grass like that, like, they're not going to hear Arnold crawling behind them because, like, making the exact same sound as far as crawling through the grass. And they're afraid to look back, of course. So they're not going to see him or hear him. And so they pop their heads out back to one of the other trails that was made earlier. Is it here? No, I think we lost it. Oh, good. Yeah, not exactly. I don't think you lost that monster yet. And then they decide to set a trap for the monster. So Kipper gets a big cardboard box. And what kind of stick is that? It's just some random tree branch kind of stick? Or is that... It's got some kind of hook at the end. And they're setting the edge of the box in between that hook. Wonder what it's supposed to be. Then Kipper ties some string to that stick. Yeah, I think it's just a wooden stick. And Tiger's pretending to be the monster now. Rah, 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 rah. And then Tiger runs into the box, and Kipper pulls on the string, pulling the stick loose, and then the box falls down on top of Tiger, aka the monster. So they're planning for it to work that way. Tiger says, "Wow, let me out." So is he asking Kipper to let him out? Like, is he really stuck in there? Or is he just thinking of what the monster's gonna say? Then Tiger says, "Suppose it doesn't want to go in." Well, I mean, duh, who would want to go into a trap? Now Kipper's thinking, what do monsters eat? And apparently Tiger wasn't stuck. He was just pretending to be helplessly trapped. And he lifts up the box and says, "Sweets? Really? Do monsters really eat sweets?" Guess it depends what kind of monster it is. I suppose Tiger just assumes that everybody likes sweets, so monsters like sweets too. Well, I mean, guess Cookie Monster likes cookies, so never know. It's interesting that they didn't consider the fact that the monster might want to eat them. Or they didn't mention it anyway, maybe they thought it. They were hoping that he'll like some sweets instead. He just reminds me of the Pig's Shop episode, because in the next scene, Tiger's got a bag of whatever kind of sweets they are. They almost look like the Gobstoppers. Like those round red things. And Kipper and Tiger both have bags in there, like leaving a trail of candies for the monster to eat leading up to the trap. And uh-oh, here comes Arnold. Yeah, that purple monster's crawling along with the pink arms and legs. And Arnold's eating all of them one by one, so I don't think they're gobstoppers. Maybe they're some kind of little chocolates or something. And Kipper and Tiger are eating a few along the way as they go as well. And they're leaving some candies on each of the steps of the slide. Interesting, because in the episode Pig's Cousin, we saw that duck hopping along on each of the slide steps, eating breadcrumbs that were on the steps. And now they're thinking that the monster's going to do the same thing with these candies. And so when they get to the top of the slide, Tiger slides down, and then Kipper slides down behind him, crashing into Tiger, who hadn't gotten off the slide yet, causing Tiger to do a little bit of a somersault, dropping the candies in the process. Oh my goodness. Arnold, the purple park monster, is getting closer to them, and they still don't see him yet. He's climbing up the slide steps now. And so Kipper leaves his bag of candies right underneath the box there that's being held up by the stick. It's got the string on it once again. Kipper says, "There now." He'll slide straight down the slide and straight into the box. Tiger says, "Yeah!" Then they turn around. Ah! There's Arnold right there at the top of the slide. Then they dive into the box to hide, and the box falls on top of them. Oh no! Well, how's their monster trap gonna work now if it already trapped them instead? Then Arnold slides down the slide on his belly head first, sliding straight off of the slide and along the grass, and then crashes into the box. Kipper and Tiger freak out once again. They hug each other, very afraid. That reminds me of a scene towards the end of Pig's Sweater, where there was something scary in a tree, and Kipper and Pig heard some growling, and the two of them hugged when they were afraid. We'll talk about that one another day, but I remember that scene being very similar to this one. And once again, I think I saw Pig's Sweater before I saw Purple Park Monster. And then they hear Pig laughing, and Pig lifts up the box and says, "Hello!" And then Pig explains that it wasn't a real monster, it was Arnold. We were playing a trick on them, weren't we, Arnold? And it looks like Arnold's okay. He's just sitting there sucking his thumb with his, little, what do you call that? It almost looks like a purple and white striped diaper with a long tail on it. So Arnold's okay, but the, cardboard head is all, smashed up now, like, it got destroyed when it crashed into the trap. So that's the end of that thing. And Pig continues, "It was a good trick, wasn't it? You weren't frightened, were you?" And Kipper and Tiger said, "No, we knew it was a trick all along." And Pig says, "Oh, good." This is interesting because when they were at the bench and Pig was eating the ice cream, and Tiger screamed, "We thought it was just a game!" And Pig said, "No, it's not a game." He kind of lied there, because this whole thing was a game. I guess in a situation like that where you're trying to play a game of make-believe and convince somebody else that it's real, I suppose in that context a little bit of lying would be kind of necessary, although I personally disagree. And also right now, Kipper and Tiger are kind of lying as well, because they seem pretty frightened during the whole situation. Did they really know it was a joke all along? They sure didn't seem like it. I guess a lot of kids in a situation like this are afraid to admit when they're really afraid, so I guess it makes sense that they're trying to say that they weren't. Then Kipper asks Pig about the costume, says it's really great. Did you make it yourself? And turns out that Pig did. And Kipper tells Arnold how good of a monster he was. And Tiger kind of thinks so too, although he says that perhaps Arnold should have roared. That would have been interesting, because all we ever hear Arnold say is, "Back!" Don't know what Arnold roaring would sound like. And Arnold's kind of alternating between sucking his thumb and chewing something, so I guess he still has a bunch of candies in his mouth. And so now the three big kids, Kipper, Tiger, and Pig, are going to play another monster game, where they're each going to take turns pretending to be a monster. And instead of hide and seek, it's going to be more like tag. Kipper says, "Whoever touches the monster gets to be monster next go." This would be a little bit different than tag, though, because it would be 2 against 1. If there's 2 guys chasing one monster, that's different from regular tag, because usually only one person is it, chasing everybody else. And Tiger says, "I'll be the monster first. Rawr! I'm ever so good at it." But before he even starts, Pig tags him and says, "I'm the monster." And then the 2 dogs start chasing Pig, but it seems like they're all acting like monsters now. They're all roaring and doing these like scary things with their hands, you know? So it seems like they haven't quite figured out how to play this game yet, and they're just being silly, pretending to be monsters. And Arnold's just sitting there by the monster trap, still chewing on the candies and sucking on his thumb. And that was Kipper the Dog, the purple park monster. That was a very interesting episode. A lot of intense drama there. I mean, it wasn't done in an overly exaggerated way. It felt realistic, though. Like the frustrations that Tiger had with trying to teach Kipper how to play this game, but him not fully understanding the rules. And then there was all the whole situation with Kipper and Tiger thinking that there's a monster in the park and getting confused about Pig's game. So yeah, there's a lot of fear involved, but Kipper and Tiger managed to find a way to potentially fix this monster problem, even though it wasn't a real problem at all. And of course, there was that really chilling moments where Arnold came down the slide and crashed into the box that Skipper and Tiger were hiding inside. And then that conversation at the end where Pig cleared everything up and they had a nice talk about everything that happened and they started to understand everything a little bit better and they ended up enjoying Pig and Arnold's creativity with the monster game. That was all excellent. I enjoyed that. So yeah, I don't know which of these 3 episodes was my favorite this time. I think it was either Buried Treasure or The Park Monster. Claytime's probably my least favorite out of these 3, although that one was pretty good too. And once again, we have another episode with a lot of food in it, because Kipper was eating those sandwiches the whole time through, and they laid out all those candies for the monster. So yeah, this was an episode of Kipper the Dog, a 3-part program that I enjoyed a lot when I was a kid, and I still enjoy it now. Now, one really interesting thing I want to tell you before I go is I did a little research on nickstory.fandom.com, and it turns out that Mom recorded this episode on October 9th, 2000. And the reason I know that is because at the end of this recording during the credits, it says something about Nick Jr.'s Double Double Day. And then the next episode on that tape, which we'll talk about in 2 weeks in the next episode of Kids TV and Me, is Echo Echo, Big Owl's Bath, and Jake's Friend. And now I'm looking at Nick's story here. These 2 programs, Buried Treasure, Claytime, Purple Park Monster, and Echo Echo, Big Owl's Bath, and Jake's Friend, both aired back-to-back at 12 noon and 12:30 p.m. on October 9th, 2000. Nick Jr.'s Double Double Day was a special schedule change where they aired 2 episodes of various shows. There would be 2 episodes of Blue's Clues at 9, 2 episodes of Little Bill at 10, 2 Dora the Explorers at 11, and here in this case, 2 Kippers at 12 noon, and then 2 Franklins at 1 o'clock. As a matter of fact, the 2 Franklins they aired that day, Mom recorded those too. It was Franklin and the Puppet Play and Franklin's Stopwatch, along with Franklin's Day Off and Franklin's Homemade Cookies. And those were the first 2 episodes that appeared on my Franklin tape that Mom recorded in the fall of 2000. I don't know if she recorded the other stuff. She might have recorded the Blue's Clues episodes, because that was What's So Funny and Signs, and I had both of those on a tape that was recorded around this time. If Mom recorded Little Bill and Dora the Explorer, I think I might have used to have those, but I think those got erased. Because Dora the Explorer tape I don't have anymore. As a matter of fact, this Kipper tape that we've been reviewing this year, this used to be my Dora the Explorer tape, but I wasn't really into that show, so Mom replaced it with Kipper. And my Little Bill tape used to be a lot longer. A lot of it got erased with the Carol Duvall show on the Home and Garden television, but I still have a few episodes left on that tape. But yeah, I think I still have those 2 Blue's Clues from that day, and of course, I definitely have the 2 Kippers and the 2 Franklins. So if you come back in 2 weeks, we will talk together about Echo Echo, Big Owl's Bath, and Jake's Friend on Kipper the Dog. Until we meet again, this is Joshua Stauffer, signing out. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll be back real soon with another fun-filled episode of Kids TV and Me. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.
It's 2 episodes of all your favorite shows all day today on Nick Jr.'s Double Double Day.
Should we do it again?
Yeah. There's more from Kipper coming up.
Perfect.
Kids TV and Me is a fan-made podcast, and it is not affiliated with any of the programs, production companies, or networks mentioned on the show. My primary goal of this podcast is to shine the spotlight on some of the lower stimulation alternatives to traditional children's programming, and to help you make smart decisions about your kids' screen time. If you are enjoying this podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if your podcast provider has a comment section, let me know your thoughts on the topics we've talked about today. To keep the conversation going, you can also leave me a message on Instagram at Joshua Stauffer Creations and on Substack at joshuastauffer1.substack.com, where you can also read my Little Joshua webcomics, my book, Meet Zoe Richards, and now the sequel, Zoe's Friends. Remember to always pay close attention to what your children are watching, and as always, don't be childish, but stay childlike.
Yep, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 20! I'm coming!
You kind of got lost in there somewhere, you know that?